Okay, hello. Valentine's Day. We're still just in Valentine's Day, and I've just got around to doing this. I just haven't had time. I wanted to show you a little scene here in Terminator 2, and this is Judgment Day. Okay, so that's the other name for the film, Judgment Day, Terminator 2. Most people have probably seen this film, I would imagine. This actual scene here is when the three main characters are going to meet up for the first time. Okay, the T800 Arnie, the T100 I can't remember the guy's name, and also John Connor, the young John Connor. Okay, so what do we have going on here that references Valentine's Day? Well, let's just see what Arnie drops here as he pulls his gun from this package. Okay, hopefully you saw that, and here it is. The red rose, okay. I don't know, I didn't count to see if there was a dozen in there, but okay. So this is this nice little tie back in to this Valentine's stuff, like with V for Valentine's Day instead of Vendetta, because he leaves the red rose with his victims. Okay, and again, back with Judgment Day, okay. Interesting with the name of the film, Judgment Day, okay. Terminator 2. I wanted to just show you one other thing that ties into... Oh, and what I must say about this scene is, after this scene, there's the chase down, I don't know what it is, the concrete river type drainage, whatever that is, in LA there, okay? Note that in that you will know that when the guy is chasing them, when the T1000 is chasing them it's like a breaker. What is that truck? It's like a tow truck, a big tow truck. Okay, and right towards the end of that scene, he crashes into the bridge that has the 911 on it. You've probably seen that before. But before that scene, what you have to realise is before that scene, where he comes over and they start that chase, I believe the road is Plumber. Okay, so this idea of the plumbing, they're in a drainage canal or whatever the hell that is. And so we have this reference to, if you like, it's quite a, it's a bit of a, it's not too much of a stretch, but it's a reference to this concrete waterway, similar in idea with the idea of the Hoover Dam. Okay, oh, we could get my words out. Anyway, I want to show you one more thing, and we'll call it the end of the video. Okay, actually, it might be two more things. So we're going to run into tomorrow's date before I get this out. This is the clock tower, and I think I've got a few new people that have been watching, and I keep picking up new people here and there. So they may not be aware of this decode, and they may not even be aware of this chart that I use for some of my stuff. And it's called the Double Cross of Lorraine. Okay, I just call it the chart of Lorraine. And in here we've just got Fibonacci numbers, we've got Lucas numbers, we've got what I call the pi row or pi numbers. Okay, this isn't actually the proper numbers of pi, it just happens to start with similar numbers to the transcendental number pi. Okay, and then we have another row here, this number 5 row, and I call that phi just simply because it starts with a 5 and it has the 1 6 in here, like phi is 1.618, yada yada yada. Anyway, this is what we have up here, is what I've drawn in here. So these are all numbers that are just tabulated in here, and we're able to actually draw some symbolism in here to represent the clock tower in Back to the Future. And why this is important is because there are two towers in this chart, one here and one here, and those two towers, if we add all these numbers up down here, add up to 55 and 88. So we have this reference to Back to the Future in this chart already, okay? So if we draw the clock tower in here, what you'll find is this is extra super interesting, because the clock tower in Back to the Future, the clock stops at 10:04. Yeah, we have this 14 numerology here, 1-4 numerology, and the clock stops at 10:04. It's the same numbers, okay? And then let me show you something else here, okay? In the film, if we stylize this 55, okay, 1-5 and another 5, we've got the lightning strike that comes down, the ZZ Top, who also do music for one of the films, I can't remember, maybe number 3. So I have the ZZ Top, the lightning striking the top of the clock tower. It goes along the wire. Notice that it travels on the 911 route here, and kind of comes across over to a lamppost, or it might be an electric pole on that side of the road. And then what we have is we have the fire trails with the DeLorean that come up through here, okay? And again, if we color, we can pick out the number pi, well, the symbol pi with the fire trails, and we have pi right here, okay? And then what we can also do, we've just had this date, yesterday, okay? Well, now it's 2 days ago now, because the date's just changed. Okay, so we had 213, which is the start of Lucas numbers, and then of course at the top here, let me just put this in red. If we were to take this 0 and put a number here, what it should be is a 9, because if we're repeating the cycle over and over again, Fibonacci cycle doesn't have any zeros in it. This is actually would change to a 9 if these numbers were all reduced and they go through a 24-digit cycle, and this becomes 911 here, okay? The end and beginning of Fibonacci numbers. Notice the fire trails come through with the Western Auto sign in Back to the Future that makes the 911 in Back to the Future when they have the scene, okay? So there's a lot of stuff in this scene that relates back to this chart in particular, and the actual film. I got to say this now. This is not something I've come up with after the fact. I already had this chart and then kind of was playing with it and put the clock tower in, and then found, all this is subsequent to the chart, me faffing around and making this chart to begin with, okay? Anyway, what we need to do is we need to think about Back to the Future 2 now. Okay, so in Back to the Future 2, we have a scene. Now, in Back to the Future 1 with the skateboard, what you'll notice is when Marty takes the skateboard from the kid, it's got the tower on it, and he rips the tower off the skateboard, okay? So we have that reference to 9/11, the tower coming down. Now, in the hoverboard scene that's repeated, okay, he takes the hoverboard, the Hoover board, okay? And what he ends up doing is he ends up crashing it. Well, actually, he doesn't crash. He ends up taking a dip in the lake, and that's like the baptism of Marty there, the baptism of the rebirth of Christ. And what happens is, Griff, should I say, his group and him smash into the doorway, okay, of the clock tower. Now, the clock tower represents the dam as well, okay? And what we have is, they hit the doorway, which is right here, okay, and smash that doorway. Now, hang on a minute. The doorway here in this chart, is number 20, okay? So we could just take the 2 numerology from that, and we can look at the 14 of where the clock also stops, yeah? So we have these 2 numbers here that are within the clock tower that we get, because the clock's already stopped, and it's sat at the numerology of 1-4, and then this doorway here is number 20, okay? What is also interesting is at the start of Back to the Future, there's a lot of references to 25 as well. Okay, the quarter, and again we have that same numerology, with the total down here for this column. So it's very fascinating, this, and the fact that they smashed that window, which is like going through the Vesica Pisces, this doorway. That is if you like, if I say it again, the Stargate right there, okay, that is smashed. So again, it's a bit late now, probably nothing will happen anyway, but I just wanted to show you that it's right here. And then the other thing I want to do is I just want to show you one more thing, because of course today's date, now we're into the 15th of, sorry about that noise in the background, we've got the pump going. We're into the 15th of February, okay? So the 15th of February, now, we've got those numbers here. We've got the numerology there, okay? It's scrambled, okay? But in the dollar bill, this number is in the dollar bill as well, but it's actually written differently. It's actually 25 on one side of the dollar bill and 1 on the other side of the dollar bill. Okay? The reason why I say this, because this is interesting, because these numbers are a double reference back, because if we cross-reference with this 2 here in the row coming across, and then it's the 13th Lucas number. So Lucas number starts on 2, and it's the 13th Lucas number, so we get the 213 again, cross-referencing with 521, which again are Christmas numbers. Yeah, sort of the basic idea of Christmas numbers. Now again, this is in the dollar bill. I'll show you in just a second how this is in the dollar bill and why it relates to the dam, the Hoover Dam. But if we just read these numbers in reverse now, okay, we can see that this reads 1, 5, and 2. Okay, so if we were just to read it, if we were just to say it, 1, 5, 2. Okay, the 15th of February. Let me show you. Let me just grab a picture of the dollar bill. Okay, and we will go to the other side of the dollar bill, and let's just copy that and stick it in there. Hang on a minute. Sorry. Let's do file new. Okay, come on, don't save. Okay, so here's the dollar bill, and what we're dealing with is these are actually portrait frames down the bottom of here. Okay, as I've said before, and I know people that watch the channel all the time probably getting fed up and me keep going over this, but this is Washington's face straight on. This is a portrait frame straight on, and that gives us he's in the $1 straight on, and then this is the portrait frame side on, the same frame side on. So this is Washington's face side on, which is on the quarter, yeah, on the 25-cent piece. Okay, and so this gives us 25 here. So this is referencing 25, yeah, written like 25. Now, part of this stuff is actually part of what's been going on recently, actually, is part of this fold here with the little owl, okay, which is right here, and you put a fold line through there. I've gone a bit off to the side there a little bit, but you'll get the picture. And then what you'll see is this is the shield torso thing right here, matches up with the big O, and then we get the word pi, this is the P here. Actually, let me just put it on brushes so we can just see a little bit better. Yeah, that's all right. So here's our P, okay, and then this is I. Okay, so we have our pi written here, P-I, and funnily enough, if you switch this around the other way, it looks like 1011. Okay, I'm not going to do it right now, but 1011, the 10th of November is the 314th day of the year. Okay, but again, what we've got coming here is these two things join up, and we can read, and again, this is 25, and this is 1, okay, and we can read that thing backwards, okay, and we're going to get the 15th of February. Okay. For those of you who don't know, though, the reason why these two numbers down the bottom here are important, let me show you, is because when you're going to fold, there's fold markers all over this thing where the little owl is. They're repeated. The owl is here. This is actually the top of the owl here, 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 and actually it's buried underneath here as well. You can see where the pattern is. So there'd be one right there somewhere, and there'd be another one, I think, right about here somewhere. And I've shown you all these other folds that, use those fold lines, okay? Anyway, to cut a long story short, basically what you're doing to get the dam is basically you're going to fold through that little fold marker there all the way over to the other side, okay? And when you do that and fold the top half out the way, this is what you end up with, okay? So now you can probably see that makes a bit more sense as a picture for a dam, okay? And this is the top of the dam here, okay? And then this is the sides, okay? That's the bottom of the dam there, okay? And you can see that, the ruffles of Washington's tie here form what looks like water coming over the dam, okay? It's not too difficult to see that. So what's important is these numbers right here, okay? 1, 1 and 25 and 1, okay? And so we can get tomorrow's date out of that. You can get many more dates out of a lot of these things that I show you in the dollar bill, but we tend to be repeating, the numerology just repeats for a different, date that just contains that numerology. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Yeah, Judgment Day. It's interesting with the, this 152 that's in here. And again, with the idea of the Valentine, all the Valentine stuff, okay? So anyway, that's it for this one. I'll catch you on another one soon. Thanks for watching, and there's just a little bit of time left now tonight before it turns to 12 o'clock in Vegas. So we'll see if something happens, but I doubt it. Anyway, thanks for watching. All right, cheers.